What's up, friends? That's right, this is not clickbait. I really traded my 2015 Cayman S for this beautiful 2017 Audi R8 Plus. And today I'm going to walk you through the car. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. Then we're going to take it for a spin. And then I'm going to give it a Tommy score. No, I'm just kidding. We're just going to take it for a spin, enjoy it, and I'm going to show you what owning a car like this is all about. Yeah, I know. You don't want to see me, you want to see the car. I'll step behind the camera, but before I do so, I want to tell you a little bit about it. So, this particular car has a 5.2-liter V10 naturally aspirated engine that produces between 602 and 610 horsepower, depends on who you ask. 7-speed dual-clutch transmission, all-wheel drive, quattro system, and 0 to 60 between, again, it depends on who you ask, between 2.7 and 3.1 seconds. So it's lightning fast. Again, this is the Plus model. Now, this car has been slightly modified, but the engine has remained untouched. We're going to start with the party piece, which is that 5.2-liter V10 that sits in the back. It sits right in the middle of the car, but if you actually look at it closely, it doesn't sit in the middle when you look at it from this angle. It actually sits a little bit to the right. So you see, this is actually the middle of this little plastic piece. So if you run your hand this way, the middle is actually here. So the engine is shifted to the left. I don't know if it's maybe the headers are on one side. No, the header should be on both sides. So I don't know why it's shifted to the side, but that's how it's designed. That's how all the Audi R8s are designed. But because this is a Plus model, so you've got the carbon fiber here, a lot of carbon fiber around the engine. Look at all this beautiful carbon fiber here. This is the intake box, fully carbon fiber. Now your coolant fill box thingy is there. The oil fill spout is here, and then you've got these exhaust vents that are fully functional. Now, when we close this glass, you can also see that this car has these functional vents here. So as your engine gets hot, it gets vented through these little openings. Pretty cool. There's also a bit of a vent on this side under this wing. This wing is an aftermarket wing that the owner of this car installed. It looks really aggressive. The Plus gets a wing that's slightly smaller than this. If you don't get the Plus, you don't get a wing, you get a retractable spoiler. Each one of them looks fantastic. This car also has an aftermarket beautiful diffuser, which looks very aggressive. These are the functional exhaust tips that are here. This is all diffuser, and look, you can stick your hand in this diffuser. This is how cool it is. The car also has an aftermarket exhaust, and look how cool it is. You can actually see through these openings this exhaust, so you've got some piping and some valving and whatnot flowing through here. So it goes here and it extracts through these functional tips. You should also know that underneath, this is really a Lamborghini Huracan. Well, at least the suspension and the engine and whatnot. A lot of the body panels and stuff inside is specific to this particular model, but really the engine, the thing that really drives the car is a Lamborghini derived engine, which is a fantastic feeling when you drive it, when you hear that sound. In the back, you've got these massive 305 30/20 tires, and behind the wheels, these beautiful wheels, you've got carbon ceramic brakes front and back. Again, standard feature on the Plus model. You've got these aftermarket carbon fiber blades, carbon fiber mirrors, and also carbon fiber wind buffeting thingies. Oh, hey, there's a bug. Oh, a bug. Get out of there. Get out of there. Get out of there. All right. Don't attack me. Anyways. So speaking of carbon fiber, you've got this massive carbon fiber blade that used to be one piece on the previous model. This car has this split into two pieces. But what's important to point out that this opening is functional, this one is not. So you see you've got these plastics that are closed here. But in this plastic you do have the fuel filler, so this is how you fill it up. There is no locking or anything, you just open up and pour fuel. Now you have to do at least 91 in the US. Outside of the US it's 95. Now moving on, you've got the V10 badge on the side. The tires in the front are 245 in width. So 245 in the front, 305 in the back. So pretty narrow in the front. And check this out, you've got this felt. This is a noise cancelling felt, so you don't have these, because these are sticky tires, you're not going to have these chunks hitting these plastic liners creating unnecessary noise. This is all felt lined, so the car rides pretty quietly. Now in the front, you've got this very sexy looking headlight. You've got this vent. Now the style of this bumper was actually redesigned in 2019 and 2020, so this is very specific to the early sort of pre-facelift models, but I've got to say I like it. What people complain about, or what people point out, is the fact that these vents are not 100% functional. So you've got this piece of plastic here that's covered. This is quite open, but in my mind it looks pretty good. This car also has this aftermarket front lip, which makes it a lot lower than stock. So stock ride height, so this is replaced. So stock car has this in I think this is stock, so this is the aftermarket lip. It makes it maybe 2 inches lower in the front, but it's still higher than my F8 M3, which is quite strange. In the front, you've got this massive grille, but again, the upper section of this grille is fake. The only functional piece of this grille is this lower radiator piece. I know they did this for design purposes, because this is the Audi signature grille. Some people like it, some people don't. I think it looks pretty sick. Check this out. When you open this massive door, obviously it's frameless, it's a sports car, so you don't need any frames. Let's start with the actual door card. Check this out. The vents actually start from here. The vents go through the door and they extract through these beautiful carbon fiber openings. You've got a lot of soft leather everywhere. So this is filled with leather. This is all leather appointed. Even this, well, this is not leather. This is pretty soft plastic. But then you've got leather everywhere. You've got your speakers here, Bang & Olufsen speaker. I don't know who actually listens to music in a car like this, with this beautiful exhaust symphony. And what's cool about this car, yes, I know these switches might be borrowed from another Audi model or not, but they click so well. I hope the mic can pick it up. Check this out. Every button feels so solid when you click it. It's incredible. Even this handle feels super solid. They did a really nice job. I know this is a premium model, so they had to do a good job, but seriously, this is all leather appointed. Everything feels fantastic to the touch. As you get in, you are greeted by this carbon fiber door sill with a big R8 sign, and of course inside you've got these massive and super huggy seats. Now you can choose 2 different types of seats on this car. You can get the buckets, or you can get these seats. These seats for me are better because they allow you to put a baby seat in the front. Now speaking of the front, why don't we sit in? I just gotta check my pockets. My keys were in my pocket. So this is the key. This is your typical Volkswagen key or Audi key with 4 buttons: lock, open the front, or unlock, and then your panic button. But we don't have to put the key in the ignition. You can just keep it in your pocket. So as we get in, this is what you're greeted by. What's cool about the interior of this car is a lot of the controls are actually on the steering wheel. So you've got your start button on the steering, your exhaust flaps, your race mode flaps. I'm going to talk to you about it when we take it for a spin, and you drive to like your different driving modes. This car also have these awesome and really needed aftermarket flaps, one on each side. And then when you move to the right, you've got just a vent, and then this dash is covered in leather. Again, feels super solid. Look how awesome everything feels. The roof, or the ceiling, is appointed in this suede or Alcantara that's diamond stitched, that matches perfectly with these diamond stitched seats. And what's also cool is, check out this deviated stitching. I've got this blue stitching here and this blue stitching everywhere on the door. Now what's funny about this car, check that out. Look how tiny the visors are. They're super tiny. But anyways, inside you've got your climate controls, and I should probably start the car, at least start the ignition, to show you how they work. So you press the button and everything wakes up. Check this out. The screen wakes up, everything wakes up. All right, stop beeping at me. Stop. Okay, it's not beeping, but now I can show you these vents. It's actually super simple. You've got your heated seats, one on each side here. Now, for turning the AC on, you regulate this knob here. You regulate the fan speed. Here you regulate the temperature, and here you also regulate on and off switch for the actual HVAC system. You've got your rear defroster, and this tells you where you want to direct the air: on your body, on your head, on your legs. I like it on my legs and my body. Now here you've got a little shelf where you can store some money and whatnot. You've got traction control buttons here and parking box, and obviously your emergency hazard lights. You've got this gear shifter, which obviously previous models came in a manual. This is only dual clutch, but I've got to say it's a fantastic dual clutch. I'm going to tell you all about it. But this is where you could put the key, but you could also keep it in your pocket. You've got a physical volume knob here and all your media controls, which people who are familiar with Audis should be familiar with. You've got your electronic parking brake, and then check this out. Under your armrest, you've got these two cup holders. This thing doesn't open all the way, so it's kind of hard for you to fit stuff in it. But behind, you actually have a little shelf. Check this out. You have a shelf in here where you can store a couple of they say it's big enough for a set of golf clubs. I don't play golf, so I don't know, but it's I mean, you can definitely store some stuff in it. And check this out. This is the baby seat tether, so you can actually put a rear-facing baby seat in the front of this car. All right, but I know you want to hear it, so this is how we're going to start it up. Check this out. Foot on the brake. Before we take it for a spin, we're going to let the car warm up, but check this out. This is how you start it up. You know, we're going to start it with the exhaust in open. So exhaust, check this out. You press this button and it tells you what mode the exhaust in. Standard. I want it to be in loud. All right, you ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh. As the car is warming up, let me show you the frunk. And to open it, you do this. Check this out. You get this pretty sizable trunk, slightly smaller than what you get in a Porsche, but it's still pretty sizable. And check this out, when you open the hood, actually you can see the wheel liner in the front. Pretty cool thing to see. And to close it, similar to a BMW, you just kind of slam it and push it here. Okay, I'm gonna come clean. Yeah, I've traded the car, but I've only temporarily traded with a friend of mine. This car is owned by a good friend of mine, Ray, who owns a couple of amazing cars, and he's always generous enough to share this vehicle with his friends. So I gave him my Cayman, and he gave me this for a couple of weeks to enjoy. After I get this car back, there's gonna be another cool car that I'm gonna show you on the channel, so stay tuned for that. All right, so let's take it for a spin. It is a bit later compared to the intro that I filmed, but a couple of things I wanted to point out before I depart. So I started it in quiet mode, and I realized something. Press the launch control button, and you hear it? The exhaust revs increase, and at the same time your transmission switches to manual. So when you're in launch control mode or the race mode, you can only switch gears manually in the US. Apparently in Europe you can still switch it automatically, or the cars can switch it for you. In the US, in Canada, you put it in race mode, you have to use the paddles, which I don't mind. Before I actually go ahead and launch this car on the straight, I'm gonna tell you about the different driving modes. So when you put it in comfort, for example, the car gets quiet, the exhaust closes, the transmission stays in, well, if you put in drive, it stays in drive. You can also put transmission, if you hit it back once, you can put in sport, so it shifts at higher revs. You flick it back again and it puts it in D. Every time you hit the paddles, it puts it automatically in manual mode until you hit this thing again. We're gonna do a couple of launches, I mean soft launches here and there, and then we're gonna take it on the twisties, but I'm gonna leave you with this just to see. I'm not gonna talk, I'm just gonna have you listen. Just check this out. Mode. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the gas. It raises the RPMs to I believe 3,500 or 4,500, and then you go 0 to 60, as I mentioned earlier, between 2.7 and 3.1. This felt like the fastest acceleration I have experienced aside from the Tesla. I test drove a Model S P100D a couple of years ago, and to me that was the fastest accelerating car. This is not as fast as that one, or it doesn't feel as torquey as that one, but it's the very close second. All right, let's try this again. Last time. my God. This doesn't get old. This does not get old. Now, what's cool about this launch control, as I mentioned earlier, is you get to manually shift the car. So it puts you in 100% control of when you want to shift. You get the shift lights as you approach the red line. The car will not shift for you, so it will bounce you off the limiter. I didn't bounce it off the limiter, but it will bounce you off the limiter until you're ready to shift. And wow, it just puts you in the back of the seat. What a fantastic feeling. Amazing. But when you get up to speed and start driving the car, you realize actually how civilized and how comfortable it is and how much visibility you have, aside from that quarter panel in the back. But in front of me, I have plenty of visibility. The front windows, I mean, it's tinted, it's got that visor. I'm not really crazy about it, but the left window, right window is big enough where I can see everything. The rear view mirrors are big enough. There's even space between the rear view mirror and the A-pillar, so I can see when I'm turning into tight streets. It feels like a car that you can live with every single day. Now, suspension also, look, I'm driving through a pretty rough terrain, and even the suspension feels pretty comfortable. Even though it's lowered, it still feels great. And then the last piece that I wanted to point out, yes, I'm driving on the highway and it's a bit loud. You put the exhaust flaps off or turn the exhaust flaps on, close the exhaust flaps, and the car becomes quiet. See, you can't hear anything. Well, we're gonna stop at a red light, so let's put it in race mode here. Race mode. All right. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. It's hard to not accelerate this car fast when you're at a red light. Because come on. Oh my God. Whoa. The brakes are fantastic. Find me a YouTube video or an article where someone complained about ceramic brakes. No one ever will complain about ceramic brakes other than the fact that that they're expensive. They stop fantastic. The brake feel is phenomenal. And oh, hold on, we gotta accelerate. Oh my gosh. Wow. What was I saying? Yeah, so the brake feel is phenomenal, and it just really, again, feels like a very comfortable everyday cruiser. Now, because of the fact that this car is mid-engine, it handles amazing. You feel the weight in the middle of the car. There's nothing pushing on the front wheel. There's nothing tugging on the back wheels. And it's got all-wheel drive, so it pulls you out of corners. I mean, this is just such a compelling package. And look, it holds you in gear. And when you're in race mode, you get the most pops. When you get out of race mode and you open up the exhaust flaps, you don't get these pops. You're in auto mode, comfort mode, dynamic. You don't get these pops. You get these pops only when you put the car in race mode, which is why I keep this car in race mode all the time. Now, I have to point out one thing. Some cars, some fast cars, especially bigger cars that you drive, when you drive fast, you don't feel the speed. The cars tend to mask that speed. In this car, I don't know what it is. I don't know, maybe it's because of the shorter wheelbase, maybe it's the suspension. I don't know what it is, but you do feel the speed. So I'm doing 60. I'm doing 60 now, and I do feel like I'm going 60. So in my car, for example, I can be doing 80 and it feels like I'm doing 50. In this one, you definitely do feel the speed. I don't know what it is, but I like it. You know, it keeps you in check. You're never going to do anything too silly to get yourself in trouble. Now, speaking of getting myself in trouble, can I make a U-turn here? Yes. Oh, this car has a great U-turn. All right, you ready? Let's go. Oh my God, this transmission. And as I'm taking you through these twisties, hear me out. I've got two vehicles currently. I've got my 2017 M3 with a manual, and I do have my Porsche Cayman S with a manual 981. I would sell both of them to get into this car. I totally would, because this could be my everyday supercar. I probably wouldn't put the front lip just to give me a better drivability, but aside from that, I would have to do the exhaust, and this is a car that one could drive every single day, and I would love to do it. I absolutely would love to do so. Now, one thing also I do have to point out, whereas in the M3 or in the Porsche, you get out from a pretty busy drive and you feel relaxed. In this car, you don't feel relaxed. You get out of the car and your adrenaline is pumping. You're very anxious. You're sweating because this car is so exciting to drive. I would probably put out 20 videos a week if I had a car like this. Oh my God. Oh, so cool. Oh, and check this out. You pull the two paddles towards you, it puts you in neutral. And you can rev up the engine. And then you put it again. Now, I have to talk to Ray because apparently when you do this in a US spec car, it limits your RPMs to 3,000. In this one, I just did it. Check this out. It allows me to rev it all the way. Let me pull the paddles. Check this out. I can rev it all the way. Mr. Ray, what's going on? Do you have a tune on this car that you didn't tell me about? If there is a tune on this car, then this car is even faster than advertised. This is an everyday supercar. This is a car that is like none other. It turns heads, but it still is a daily driver. Yes, it's expensive, so not everyone can afford it, but those who can are very lucky individuals. And to be honest with you, I'm not kidding. I hope to own one day. I really do. Yeah, I'm gonna get crappy MPGs. With all the accelerations and all that stuff that I've been doing, I've been getting about 10 miles to the gallon. But it's worth it. I think it's worth it because the car is so engaging. I'm not sure about maintenance. I have to look into it, what it takes to maintain this car. But if we can get over that, I've got to say, I would take this car over a Turbo S. Why? Because this one has a better presence. This one on the outside looks like an exotic car, whereas Turbo S looks like a Turbo S. It looks like any 911. This is as fast as the Turbo S. It also has all-wheel drive. It's not as roomy inside or in the frunk, but this just feels a bit more special, and I do feel very special driving it. And I have to say, I have to thank my friend Ray for making me feel this special. Ray, you're a very generous person for allowing me to do this, so I really appreciate it, and thank you so much. Anyways, I'm going to be driving this car for a little while, but I'm not going to bore you with everything that I do on this drive. I'm going to take it on a couple of errands. But let me know what you think of this car. Let me know what you think about my future plans for owning a car like this. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Bye-bye.